Hi guys, it's Scotty P and me. Scott's at school right now and I'm in Auckland having a break. So today I'm going to be talking about inclusion and exclusion in the school system. I've been wanting to make this video for a long time now, and I've put it off because I really wanted to articulate my feelings around this subject. So you'll have to forgive me if I start to rant. But yeah, so when you're looking at including a child in the school system or excluding a child from a school, there are two sides to it. There's the side of the parent and the child, and then there's the side of the teacher and the school. And yeah, I just really wanted to talk about it because I've been seeing a lot of feedback on social media where children are being stood down or excluded from school because of their behaviour. From a parent's perspective, this kind of makes my blood boil because I've seen it all too often, and even personally, when Scott was excluded from school or stood down because of his behaviour. Unfortunately, for some teachers, it can be the go-to plan when they don't know how to deal with children's behaviour. And I am talking generally. There are some teachers and schools out there that do a really good job at being able to find a way of including children. I think all too often it becomes the easier option. The behaviour is seen as a problem and it's too big for them. And I've seen it just being swept under the carpet. And that to me is just not okay. Every child in New Zealand has a right to an education, and just because that child has other issues going on does not mean that teachers or school have a right to sweep that problem under the carpet. I think that there is a huge gap in knowledge and understanding of how to deal with children with behaviour issues, children that have meltdowns. There's just so much that could be done that isn't being done. The amount of teachers that I've seen that don't have any training or knowledge in how to deal with this sort of behaviour is huge. And I think it's time that it needs to be addressed, because this is becoming a real issue for us as parents. We become the advocate for our child. We become the educators to the educator about our children and how to deal with them. Teachers need to have this education around how to deal with our children, what a meltdown is, and have the knowledge that this isn't something in their control. It's, a basic fight, flight or freeze reaction of the brain. So they can't and shouldn't be held accountable for their actions. If a teacher took the time and the school took the time to get to know the child, making a relationship with that child and the parents, they would understand more around the triggers behind the behaviour and minimise or eliminate even the things that can trigger these behaviours. On the other hand, as a teacher, I understand and again have lived with children with severe behaviour issues that, bite, that scratch, that swear at you, that headbutt you, they hurt you on a daily basis. And yes, it's your job, and yes, you love that child with every ounce of your heart, but there comes a breaking point where you just get to the point of exhaustion, where you don't have the energy anymore and you become scared and fearful of yourself and the damage that child can do, not only to yourself but to others around it. And it's a real conundrum because you feel so helpless. You've tried everything. You don't necessarily have all the knowledge about the child or their background. You need extra training, you need extra support. So yeah, it's a real issue. I really feel for teachers that go through this sort of situation where they feel that it's not a safe environment to be around for themselves or the children around them, and can often feel that they need to, or they have to leave their job because they've lost that passion and that reason for being a teacher. I think this change needs to happen at the top, right from the ministry. The Ministry of Education need to take a stand and need to put support and training in place for teachers. They need to put support around families and children and advocate for children's rights. Something needs to happen. I read this today on Facebook and I wanted to share it. It says, inclusion is a mindset. It is the way we treat others and the way they treat us. Inclusion gives the opportunity to learn together and from one another. It's what we should do. And yeah, I really believe that. And I think, a lot of teachers need to either stand up and say, look, we need the support, we need more training, instead of hiding behind excuses and sweeping things under the carpet and pretending that this problem will go away when it's a problem that needs to be addressed. And I've been in situations where a teacher has looked at me and talked to me in front of my child about how dangerous he is and how he needs to take accountability for his actions, and he'll learn that by being stood down he won't do it again. There's consequences for his behaviours, etc., etc. And they just don't understand that, you know, in that moment when they've shut down or they've had a meltdown, they're not responsible for what's going on. You know, they can't control what their body does. So why should a child take accountability for that, you know? Why can't teachers try and unpack what's going on, you know? What is causing that behaviour? What can I do to eliminate that behaviour? You know, how can we make this work for the child and for the parent and for the teacher, you know? There has to be a solution. But parents out there that are going through this, I really want to reach out to you, and you know, I know that this is a really hard time, but know that, you know, your child has every right to be at school, and, you know, keep fighting and keep talking to the school, you know, try and find that middle ground where you can work together as a team. You know, no one should have the power. It shouldn't be a power situation. It shouldn't be about control. It should be about, how do we help this child through what they're going through? How do we support the family? How do we support the teacher? That's what it should be about. And that is what I'm going to leave you with today. Thank you. Bye.